Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the FoxHole feed, and oh my goodness, just finished watching all of Sony's Tokyo Game Show press event, and I gotta say it is pretty megaton. Lots of announcements, some shockers of some things that didn't show up, some shockers of some things that did, and you may not be surprised at everything you heard. So, Sony starts it off. Yoshida comes out and talks about some numbers, talks about, the sales being really high of the software. He states that the Vita is actually getting some extra colors. And he states that he wants, the Vita sales to do well because of this. I don't know why they're not supporting it. Anyway, so yeah, they're barely supporting it. In fact, the news that shows to you this actually doesn't really help what's going on with it, but I digress. So he thanks everybody for the PlayStation 4 and Vita sales in the Japanese market. Says that their conference is going to have more to talk about those sales. So which is pretty good. So Yoshida was kind of there to kick off the announcement. So BloodBorne 2 was shown and was talked about. BloodBorne 2 was revealed that it had over 2 million sales to date, which is pretty good for them. They revealed the new DLC, which is called The Old Hunter. I don't want to think about The Order for a minute. The Old Hunter was announced. It's going to be full scale. It's going to come out on the 24th of this year. It looks really good looking. I don't really know how expansive as it is, but it's probably going to be pretty a decent size. It's actually also coming packed in with The Order as well. Not The Order, with Bloodborne. Bloodborne is getting packed in with this, with another separate title. I would assume like a Game of the Year type version, I guess. Uncharted 4 was also surprisingly shown, but I don't know how popular that series might be in the East, but it's also shown, and it's going to be releasing day and date in Japan. Showed a similar trailer. Sony Japan shows off some more interesting stuff, where they kick off the show and they show off some new IP. I don't want to say it's new IP. This is old IP, established, I would say, as of now. So they shows this video, and these apples are falling, and this cat's falling too, and it's really cryptic. And I don't really know what any of this means, but if you're a Gravity Rush fan, you probably do know what it means. So, for all I know, it's cryptic for me. It was understood for the fans of that game. So, Gravity Rush sequel was announced, along with Gravity Rush coming to the PlayStation 4 with a title called Gravity Days. Now, I'm not sure if Days is what they're calling it now, or I'm not sure if that's just what they call it in Japan. For all I know, that's a different title, sort of how Resident Evil is called Biohazard in Japan. So it may be my mistake, but Gravity Days is going to be coming for the PlayStation 4, which is going to be a remaster of the actual Vita version. But Gravity Days 2, which is the sequel to Gravity Rush, is also coming to the PlayStation 4 as a ground up title only for the PlayStation 4. So you see where I said, Cheetah saying he wants those good numbers for PS Vita, but it's hard to ask for that and then release the sequel to one of their titles exclusively on console. So, it's business, but apparently it's coming exclusively to console. And it's going to be coming out 2016. As for it coming to the West, I don't really know. Who knows? Could be, could not be. So, also, they're releasing an anime title, apparently. They're working with somebody to make an anime title for Gravity Rush, or Gravity Days as they're calling it, which is nice. They also state there are more titles to be announced soon. I don't really know what that means. Maybe they're releasing another one for the Vita, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are releasing one and they just hadn't announced it, and maybe another one's coming. Who knows? Ubisoft was also there to show off their new IP, For Honor. I don't know how many would be hearing about that in Japan. They showed a new samurai dude, and I think they called the class the Oni, and they showed it off. Somebody via Skype or some sort of internet service was thanking the East for their support and saying they're really excited to launch it there, and same old PR BS classic stuff. Assassin's Creed was also there. Nobody cares. They were showing some Jack the Ripper DLC for their new upcoming Assassin's Creed game, Syndicate. I don't know how much the East even cares for this IP, so I don't know how much news that was to them to get that title. I mean, what if they see Assassin's Creed the way we see Yakuza? For all I know, they want this game. I don't know. Maybe they do. Speaking of Yakuza, Sega comes out. This is the 10th anniversary since Yakuza, which I actually know that only because recently, while talking to a friend, I realized it was the 10th anniversary coming. It was already past the 10th anniversary for Kingdom Hearts 2. So I was feeling very old. So yeah, 2005 saw a lot of really good PlayStation 2 games, and Yakuza was one of them. So Yakuza, Sega's showing the anniversary, 10-year anniversary of it, and they're actually remaking, the first Yakuza, which is actually pretty cool. As to us ever seeing it in the West, probably not a chance. But who knows? Things could change. It's a full remake. As I was watching it, I was writing some stuff down that he was saying that was really important. It states that they're fixing issues with the game. They're even fixing specific issues with the story. So it seems like they're changing things and fixing it for the way they probably really wanted to release it had they had stronger and better hardware. So they're completely remaking this game, and it looks like it's going to look like the way we know these series to look like. And this title is going to come to PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 around January 2016. They also announced Yakuza 6 is coming to the PlayStation 4, but only the PlayStation 4, which is coming out fall next year. They announced that they're working on a movie. I mean, everybody's announcing they're working on an anime or a movie thus far, but which is kind of interesting. I mean, that's kind of cool that they're sort of moving it out there. Yakuza series has always had Japanese voice actors and really big Japanese actors, I would say. I won't even just say voice. They had Japanese actors in general that were acting in their games. So them doing a movie is not far off. That game has leaned towards that cinematic concept. So, I mean, that's notable. The biggest thing about that, I feel, is Yakuza 6 being completely next or current gen, I would say, not cross gen. So I really want to see what 6 actually looks like given the exclusive horsepower. As to us seeing Yakuza 5, no answer to Yakuza 5 in the West, but it's TGS. They're there for the East, they're not there for the West. I understand. King of Fighters 14 was there, and I put in quotations, who the fuck is liking this game? The game really actually does look like a PlayStation 2 game, and I thought it looked bad. I mean, if you look at how Tekken 5 looked like on the PlayStation 2, if you told me that was King of Fighters, I would believe you. So, I mean, that's sort of how I feel about that. Not a big fighting fan. Person you always hear talking on the podcast with me, Craig, he is a huge fighting fan. So when I saw this, I was like, he would probably care about this game. Got BlazBlue when it came out. He would care about this game's release. So Sega shows off some more titles because they're a big publisher in Japan. They're actually showed a trailer for Just Cause 2 since they're publishing that in Japan, and they also showed Star Wars since they're publishing Battlefront in Japan, and it showed some marketing stuff for it. It was something really small though. It's nothing that big. You would think that with them marketing West titles, they would throw some bones and bring Yakuza over here, but that's not how business works though. They show us some Phantasy Star 2 footage of Phantasy Star Online 2 on PlayStation 4. I don't know why. Why are they haunting us with this? You guys don't want to know that news. That news pisses me off. So at this moment, I'm typing this down too. As I'm reading this to you, I'm reading what I typed down earlier tonight at like 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning when this was going on. And I put, where the fuck is Persona 5? When I was writing this an hour or two ago, I was very angry and very pissed off as Sega's already wrapping up their stuff. They're already showing everything. And I'm like, what's going on? Namco comes out and the first thing I'm thinking is, where's Persona 5? Sega, son of a bitch, where is it? Maybe they might show it, I don't know. I'm mad because I assumed that Persona 5 would be one of the big titles that would be showing there. But I digress. New Gundam game was shown. They always show something. It's a Vita only title. So there you go. Silver lining, guys. See, Shu cares. Somebody cares. So Vita's getting a exclusive title for the Gundam series. It has a really wild extreme name. I don't remember. It was Extreme something. It was a very Japanesey game that was sort of like trying to appeal to the West, but will probably never come over here. I don't know why it's named what it's named, if that's the case, to be honest with you. Koei shows off some new titles. They showed off a title that's not really new. Recently, we was talking about games that were announced and then took years and years and years and years to release. This title was announced before Final Fantasy Versus was announced and is now getting actually released after the fact on a completely different console, just like Final Fantasy Versus. And it's actually a title called Nioh. Nioh was being done by Koei, and it was originally being worked on by Team Ninja. Team Ninja is apparently still working on it, and it's actually set to come out in 2016. Full next-gen game, 2016. It looks good. When I'm watching it, I got an Onimusha vibe from it. It feels, the way I see it, the stance they're taking, the way it's fixed, it looks like Onimusha. That's what the feeling that I get when I look at it. I was reading some of the comments, or reading some of the stuff that the director was stating at Team Ninja, and he states that, you know, it's set in the Edo period, and they want you to feel like how it really felt like to basically move like a samurai. So I'm very excited. I feel like I'm almost just as excited for this game right now as I was 10 years ago when it was first announced and shown as one of those early PlayStation 3 games. I'm still very excited, and I'm actually probably still going to pick it up regardless, and I'm still getting it. Square showed a lot of titles. Surprisingly enough, they didn't show the titles you would think they would show. I'll tell you what they did show before I tell you what they didn't. You already know anyway. World of Final Fantasy, they showed more of that. Shows a trailer of Sora meeting Lightning from the 13 series. I wrote down that I feel that this is part of like Final Fantasy, but a Kingdom Hearts of Final Fantasy, as if to say this is a Kingdom Hearts only with Final Fantasy characters and not Disney or anything like that. That's what it feels like. The crossover game of just Final Fantasy characters exclusively. Looks very chibi, looks very interesting. I really, really, really like what I'm seeing from it. No release date announced, coming 2016. I'll leave a trailer at the link. I'll actually leave all the trailers that I've seen. I'll leave all trailers at the link for you guys down there to see what it is. So you look in the description, you're going to see a link for it. Star Ocean 5 was shown. Looked very good as usual. Looks very, very good looking. No word on PlayStation 3 version coming over here. I think as of right now, only the PlayStation 4 version is coming to the West, and only Japan is getting the PlayStation 3 and PS4 version. It's going to be coming out, February 25th, which is pretty soon actually. As to when it's coming to the East, I don't know. I don't think it's a day and date. So they weren't really specific on when it was for the East. It's a Japanese trade sale, so I can understand why they wouldn't be. So Vita getting another exclusive title. Japanese RPG from a really old series. Saga Scarlet Grace is what it's called, but I believe they had another one called Saga Colsep or something around that for the PlayStation 2 era. Apparently Square is bringing that series back, and they stated that it's a new start of the series, and they made it specifically for the Vita, so another Vita exclusive. So I guess they're not leaving behind too much. There's some exclusive titles still being catered only to handheld or to Vita. Probably might get ported and remastered somewhere along the line for PlayStation 4, but as of right now, it looks like they're keeping it on handheld as one of these smaller titles. Kingdom Hearts game was finally announced. The Kingdom Hearts game that we rumored as 2.9 is what it was called. It's officially actually called 2.8. Completely under the radar. Who knows if that was ever even supposed to be its name? For all we know, it probably really was 2.9, and they just changed the name in spite of the leaks or something. But it's called 2.8. It's 3 titles. 3 titles on PlayStation 4. It's going to be Dream Drop Distance, which was the 3DS title originally. It's going to be that completely remade in HD. 2 other titles. One was called Kingdom Hearts X Black Cover. I don't know what that means. The other one is Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep. I don't know what they are with these points and 0. Whatever and 1 point whatever. They're getting really specific on that. What does it mean? Who knows? but I know one clearly has to do with Birth by Sleep. The second title that was shown there, I have no idea what it's about. I'm actually more excited for this just based on it's brand new. I mean, those two other games are completely brand new. So something's really interesting about that. I'm actually happy we got this versus just if it was 2.9 was just the collection. So what this is called as 2.8, I actually like more than what I actually wanted it to be. So this is quite surprising. I didn't expect it to be anything new. I thought it was just going to be the collection put together in HD and thrown together as a PlayStation 4 release. This is interestingly enough only coming to PlayStation 4. I didn't read anywhere or anything of it coming to PlayStation 3, which I automatically assumed, and apparently it's not. So this is a PlayStation 4 only release. The team known as Tokyo Game Factory, which was revealed to have been created at E3 by Square, they showed their first game off. It looks very old school, very top down. It's coming out early 2016, and it's only going to be on PlayStation 4 and Vita, as a lot of these titles are sort of having that little combo. So it's going to be both of those, and it looks very traditional. From what I've seen from it, it reminds me of Bravely Default in terms of it being traditional, not so much in gameplay. I haven't seen enough of it to make that call. On my radar, I'm liking what I've seen. I liked what I saw from that. Near the tail end of this, I'll say what my favorites was of actually what I saw today. Atlas's RPG. Atlas showed off a new RPG, but I believe Atlas is just publishing this. The team that's making this is Vanillaware. Vanillaware made Odin Spear, and they also made Dragon Crown. They're also making Odin Spear, the remake, that's actually supposed to be coming out like next year on PlayStation 4. So this team has a tendency to release their titles to the West, so they rarely have games that don't come over here. You're going to likely see this game over here. This is personally one of my favorite titles that I thought I saw here. It was called 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim. Very interesting looking, teen kids and anime looking, mechs are inside of it. It's 2D, and it looks really, it's 2D just like the Valkyrie Profile series. It looks really good. I'm interested in it right off of the bat. I'm interested in it just based on the team. The team's known for doing these really stylistic, great looking RPGs that they don't just look good, they play amazing. Odin Spear is an amazing lost gem for the PlayStation 2. So this team knows what they're doing. I'm excited from what I've seen from this. It looks amazing, and I didn't even just leave one link. I left 3 links for you guys to check this game out. That's how much I was really surprised in what I saw. So I went from utter happiness to saying that's a utter pissed offness and shock with this next one. Capcom comes out and they're showing off their game, and they're talking about Resident Evil, and they're talking about the 20th anniversary and how it's a big deal for them, and they tell you it's a big deal, and then they show you this utter crap. So we already heard of the leak of Biohazard Umbrella Corps. If you didn't, it leaked a while ago, and people speculated rampantly at what it was. My guess originally was it's likely going to be similar to Operation Umbrella, and it's sort of going to be like that, where they're going and doing multiplayer stuff, and it's third person. It's going to be all that. That's my assumption of what it was, and it sort of exactly is that. So this is going to be a multiplayer shooter. They stated they want it to be competitive, and I put down what the actual fuck, my exact words, when I was watching this. So Capcom, they just need to keep this shit away from the main series. I'm only happy that this is being created because it diverts attention away from them trying to fuck up 7. If they got somewhere they could put this action junk, then maybe they'll leave the rest of the series to be horror survival games, and I would be fine with that. On a nice note, just on a non-biased note of me hating the shit out of Capcom right now, I saw zombies, which is a good thing. The game looks good. The game doesn't look bad. There were some zombies in the game that looked like they could bite you, so it's not like they just went full bro dude on you in terms of people shooting each other. There is a monster, and there is a real RE element of a traditional RE in terms of monsters attacking you, but they're stating this is straight competitive, so I don't feel me picking this up. I've longed but no longer wanted this before. A buddy of mine, Adam, which is a good friend of mine. He'll probably pick this up and he'll probably play it. He plays all the Mercenaries. Him and his brother Jason play all the Mercenaries games, and they love all of them. So he's gonna really, really, really like this. So he's probably really excited for it. I mean, he loves the Mercenaries one, so if this is right up his alley, if I were to try to get him to play a competitive game, that might be the game for him to do really, really well at, since he puts deep hours into that game. He likes the mechanics, and he's going to really like this game. He owns the actual fastest record for Link Between Worlds, by the way. He's the world's fastest person at that game currently. And completely loves Mercenaries and Resident Evil. Go figure. So last things that were sort of tidbits that were shown while Square was still up there. Square came back to show, or Enix, their other part of the company, went to show some Dragon Quest stuff. They went to show Dragon Quest Builders, showed some of the building mechanics. The team sort of talked about it. It's having a January 28th release date in Japan. Looks very Minecrafty, but we've seen some of this before. Not as much new details, I would say, were released. A new trailer was released, which I'm going to link on the bottom, but not as much details as I thought were actually released during this. They showed off some custom PlayStation 4s, looked really, really, really good looking. So they showed some, they weren't custom PlayStation 4s as much as they were custom hard drive covers that you could now purchase to make your PlayStation 4 look all sorts of colory and gold, and they had all different customizable looking things. I do want. PlayStation Now was actually being released in Japan, which was part of their news, which I'm surprised at. I assumed the PlayStation Now was actually already released in Japan. They talk about some VR. They show rigs, they show heist, they show the shark demo that they've been showing with all their events. I'm actually surprised, out of the ones that they show that I actually want to talk about right now, is Summer Lessons. I'm shocked that Summer Lessons is actually there. I assumed Summer Lessons was just simply a Target type of thing, like here's what we could do with it, or here's a tech demo, or here's, I thought it was a demonstration. I didn't see it as them showing it like, here's something that could be a thing. The fact that they're showing it along with, this little small montage of VR games might mean that this is actually probably something. Namco really might be making this as a real thing, to show its attention like that and the attention to detail that they put in it. I feel like you do a tech demo if you're Sony. If you're saying, here's what we could do with the device, and, this is what we're going to sell to you. Namco doesn't necessarily need to. It's not Namco's job to sell these things. It's Sony's. So if Namco is going to show something like this off and have this much work in it, and Sony's still showing it again, maybe it's a real thing. So I'm starting to believe that it's possibly a real thing. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I would import it. I would definitely import. Looks very fun, but they showed that on there, and we finally now have an official name. It's no longer Project Morpheus and under its little code name. It's now just officially PlayStation VR. That's it. Simple, clean, makes sense, not too confusing, straight to the point. Last tidbit I want to leave with, which they sort of ended the show off, is they talked about PlayStation 4's success after they showed, they showed a montage, talked about its success, and they stated that they wanted to have a price that made it more appealing to the West. Or not West, excuse me, to the Eastern and to Japan, to thank them for doing, I guess, having the amazing sales that they had. They lowered the price, and what I've been reading online, I did my own conversion and I was off by a little bit, and from what I found from better conversion sites is the amount of yen that they lowered the PlayStation 4 to is equivalent to $290. So that's in Japan. Will that match over here, like in the West? That could. At Sony's Paris event, for all we know, they could be lowering the price there and systematically lowering the price across other regions. But it may not be likely that they might lower it everywhere. It might just be a Japanese only thing. Who knows? But I would hold out for a PlayStation at least for a month or two, because this actually comes effective in October for Japan. So I might hold off a month or two to see if they announce everywhere else. But by all means, help yourself this fall for it. This has been a very, 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 very meaty news segment. I only do a lot of these during press events. Try to keep it brief, try to keep it short. But today was a megaton amount of news, and I've been up all night reading news and watching the stream and talking with other gamers. And it's really late. It's like 4 in the morning right now, and are going. It's actually a little bit past 5 actually, and we are going to wrap this up. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys probably Friday.